You want to know the advice that destroyed my life? Be nice, be agreeable, put everyone else first. I believed it for 55 years, and it cost me 3 marriages and my sense of self. I'm not giving you a list of things to do differently. I'm showing you the lies that I believed so that you can recognize them in your own life. Because awareness is the first step to your happiness and freedom. The first lie is the foundational lie that makes all the rest of them possible. Be a good girl, be nice, don't be selfish. And as a kid, I saw everything in black and white. So if I wasn't good, that meant I must be bad. And this taught me over time that other people had to come first. I was conditioned to believe that other people were more important than me. And so the lie is, others come first. Others are more important. And the cost to me of this, growing up into an adult who believed this lie, not consciously, we don't believe these consciously, they're in our unconscious, they're automatic. But the cost to me was I didn't put other people first occasionally. I always put other people first. I was always the one putting myself on the back burner, putting other people first. And I basically disappeared completely out of my own life. So if you can't remember the last time you were a priority in your own life, this lie is probably running your life. And here's an example of how that lie played out in my life. My first marriage, the night before we were getting married, I laid on the guest bedroom floor and cried myself to sleep because I felt something was off. But I had already said yes, and so I thought I couldn't change my mind. And that's lie number 2, is that we don't change our mind, that nice girls don't say no, that we're loyal at all costs. But prior to us getting married, we had been broken up, and we got back together because he wrote me a card, a note that said that he wanted to get back together, get married, and have kids in God's name. Those were his words. And after we got married, a couple weeks later, I brought up the conversation about kids. Not that I was ready to get started. I was 24 or 25, I just wasn't ready yet, but it was my dream to have children. And somehow kids came up in a casual conversation, and he looked at me straight up and said, I don't ever want you to bring up the subject of kids again. End of subject, end of story. So my gut was right, but because I was taught that nice girls don't speak up, we don't say no, we don't, we don't go against the grain, we're loyal, like I said, at all costs. I didn't speak up the night before my wedding, and that's what it got me. And I don't know if you were taught this, but I was taught, and this goes into that, is if you can't say anything nice, don't say anything at all. And so I learned that saying something that someone else might be disappointed in or might be hurt by, not a hurtful thing, but something where they didn't agree, that was not being nice. And so again, I learned to not speak up for myself. The cost for me to do this was that I always chose their comfort over my own integrity. If you have a knot in your stomach, or you get that sense when you say yes to something that it's just doesn't feel right, that's your body saying no when your mouth or your brain just can't. Lie number 3, my second husband, about 2.5 years into our marriage, I found out he had been having an affair, and it was still going on. I was devastated by this news because I didn't want to be divorced a first time, let alone a second time. And so what did I do? I just suppressed it all. I swallowed my anger, my sadness, all of it. And a few weeks after I found out this news, I wasn't feeling well, of course, right? That makes sense. And so I went to the doctor, and she thought I was depressed. I told her what was going on. She thought I was probably depressed, but they took blood work, and I actually had an autoimmune that had popped up, Hashimoto's thyroiditis. Lie number 3 is good girls don't get angry. We suppress our emotions, we hold it all together. In fact, we take on other people's emotions, right? And try to make it all better. And what I figured out was that underneath all the sadness and tears that I had during that time was probably a lot of anger that I was suppressing. I've heard that anger actually is the sign of an unmet need. And of course, when you have a betrayal in your life, there are definitely unmet needs, such as respect, connection, safety, right? Our subconscious, even if maybe we don't sense it directly, but our subconscious, when there's a betrayal, when there's something very hurtful like this that happens in our life, the nervous system goes into fight or flight or freeze or fawn. But in this type of thing, I probably went into freeze mode where I just shut down. And so it's a safety mechanism in order to try and avoid more hurt. But again, the third lie that I learned that I was conditioned to believe was that good girls don't get angry. And the anger itself wasn't the problem. This was a message to me that I was being betrayed, but I couldn't hear it through all the nice girl noise. If you're exhausted or depressed or you're numbing out with alcohol or food or any other type of addictive substance, then check if there's anger underneath all of that. The anger that you have been taught to ignore, to bury, to hide. Lie number 4, I was the queen of second chances. No matter the hurt, I forgave lying, infidelity, emotional abuse. I was taught to turn the other cheek. And what I thought that meant when I was little, right? It's just our little, 5-year-old brain, that 7-year-old brain that is learning these things. And we don't know what that means, but what I thought it meant to turn the other cheek. So if someone, not physically, but figuratively hit me on this cheek, then I should turn the other one and let them do it to that cheek as well. That's what I thought that meant. And so lie number 4 is that we should forgive and forget, no matter what. And the cost to me was forgiveness without accountability. And all that amounts to is enabling them. It's not healing, it is enabling the other person. And I confused the two for decades. If you're forgiving something, some behavior, the first time, the third time, the 5th time, the 10th time, that's not you being gracious, that's you being used. So the 4th lie is forgive and forget no matter what. The 5th lie explains why I stayed silent through abuse and betrayal and my needs being ignored, through being in a place where I didn't feel emotionally safe. And I'm not playing the victim here. I want to explain that these run on autopilot. These are patterns, subconscious patterns that we're taught when we're young, and they just run on autopilot. Believing these lies are as automatic as putting on our seatbelt. We don't even realize we're doing it, but the lies are what's in the driver's seat of our life. So if you're getting something, if your reality of your life is something that you don't want, that you don't like, that you're actually tolerating, then you most likely are, one of these patterns, one of these lies is driving that. It's not you consciously choosing it or not being able to do enough. So I want you to understand that. But the 5th lie is don't rock the boat. In my second marriage, after he cheated in year 2, I stayed 15 more years. 15 years more. Because I was taught don't rock the boat, don't make waves, right? Keep the peace, be the peacekeeper. And leaving would have definitely rocked the boat. In my 3rd marriage, I was scared to speak up because of retaliation or retribution. I learned that if I spoke up with him, I would get retaliated against. And I got tired of all the gaslighting and all the game playing and all the emotional manipulation that I would have to go through if I spoke my truth. So it just became easier to go back to being silent again and not rocking the boat, being the peacekeeper. And my next video that I'm creating, I'm talking about this toxic marriage and how it ended and how I reinvented myself after that. So make sure that you're subscribed to this channel so that you get notified when that comes out. It should be within the next week or so. The cost of me believing this lie, don't rock the boat, in my second marriage in particular, it cost me, like I already alluded to, having a family. I lost my chance to have children of my own, and that is a huge cost that, had I known, I don't know that I would have paid that cost, right? If speaking your truth feels impossible without drama, that's a sign that you're not allowed to be you. And you deserve to be seen and not hidden in your life. You are not meant to be here to be an invisible spectator in your own life. Number 6 is probably the lie that kept me trapped the longest. I never wanted to be divorced once, let alone 3 times. And my third husband, out of nowhere, we could be watching TV, doing something casual, and unprompted, he would say, "If you want a divorce, it's okay. I won't badmouth you to other people." And he said it like he was being gracious, like he was being generous, and like he was giving me permission to end the marriage. And what I heard was, you're the one breaking this marriage. You're the problem. And it kept me frozen in this marriage. And the lie is, lie number 6, you made your bed, now you have to lie in it. And I can look back now and say part of me stayed to prove that I wasn't the failure that he was labeling me as. And this lie convinced me that I was a failure, that I was the problem because I was the one that chose him. But staying out of loyalty because of this lie, when you're miserable, when you're unhappy, when you're being maybe emotionally abused like I was, that is a sign of insanity. It's not loyalty at all. So staying because you're supposed to is living someone else's life. That is not your life. And you aren't required to die in the bed that you made. Leave what's hurting you. The 7th lie had me realize I had no idea who I was. I had worn a mask for so long to fit in. I didn't know what I liked, what I needed, what I wanted, what I desired, what my preferences were. I had no clue because I had let other people decide for me for so long. Again, unconsciously. This wasn't something I was consciously choosing to do. But the 7th lie is I was taught to go along to get along, to go with the flow, to be easy to get along with. But here's the thing I discovered. I wasn't doing it truly to be nice. I was doing it to be loved and accepted, to be approved of, to be validated, to feel worthy about myself, to feel okay about myself. And eventually, after doing this for so long, by wearing this mask for so long, I had no self left to disagree. I was like a mirror or a puppet, just reflecting everyone else's needs and desires, not my own. And I ended up not even knowing what my own were. So if you've been described as, she's so easy to get along with, she's so nice, there's never any drama with her, I would invite you to, and you feel empty inside, I would invite you to examine, are you doing this for approval? Are you actually erasing yourself by going along to get along? Erasing yourself for approval, that might be really hard to hear. And these lies didn't just cost me 3 marriages, they cost me over 50 years of my life. I'm not suggesting that you become self-centered, mean, or aggressive in any way. Remember, these are patterns that are running in your subconscious mind, and they are just as automatic to be in your life as putting on your seatbelt. You don't even realize you're doing them. I'm telling you though, that recognizing these lies in your life is how you stop living them, how you stop letting them be in the driver's seat. And if you feel discomfort right now with hearing some of these lies, that's not something to fix. It's not a problem to fix. That's your real self waking up after decades of being asleep and running on autopilot. And she is worth listening to. So which one of these lies landed with you the most? Which one hit home? I would love for you to share in the comments. Or if there was a lie that I didn't say that you lived, that you realized you lived, please share that in the comments. Let me know that I'm not alone. Let other people know that are watching that they're not alone in this. So let's share in the comments, and I appreciate you being here, and thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.